northeastern China, there's a province called Yanbian. Now, this is a Korean autonomous province that was created shortly after the Chinese Civil War. Now, to explain briefly, in World War II there was around 2 million Koreans living in China, and many of them, like Kim Il-sung, were instrumental in the fight against the Japanese, and many others joined the communists and helped Mao secure power. So this province was sort of rewarded to those Koreans for their help in this effort. Most of these Koreans emigrated once Japan fully annexed Korea, but many others emigrated to Russia, in particular the east. So by the 30s, there was around 180,000 of them living around Vladivostok, and this made up a great chunk of the population there. But because they were just across the border from Japanese-controlled Korea, the Soviets were sort of worried about where their allegiances lay. So the Soviets looked to deport the Koreans from the east, but doing so would have given Japan a cause for war. So they waited until 1937, with Japan occupied elsewhere, to deport the Koreans, and 100,000 of them went to Kazakhstan and 80,000 of them went to Uzbekistan. But a lot died during the process. However, once this period of turmoil ended, the Koreans in Central Asia did pretty well for themselves. For instance, in the 60s and 70s, they worked together as a community and made quite a bit of money in the onion fields, and today there's still a pretty large Korean population in Central Asia. Many of the Koreans living within China and the Soviet Union eventually returned to Korea, North Korea in particular, after it got its independence from Japan, and most of them were pretty instrumental in setting up the government there. But back to the Koreans living within China. In 1931, there was a crucial incident caused by Koreans digging an irrigation ditch in Manchuria. So the Koreans had leased land and began digging this irrigation ditch, but this angered the local farmers as it would have disrupted their land. So a group of a few hundred of them banded together and chased the Koreans away. But the Japanese soldiers, who were just on the other side of the border, jumped to the rescue of the Koreans and protected them while they continued to finish the ditch. And this was a relatively small incident, but it was very important because it was sensationalized by the Korean press. Many Koreans at the time already felt that they had claims to Manchuria, and this incident just drove them over the edge, and in Pyongyang in particular, people rioted against the Chinese. In fact, in Pyongyang, over 100 Chinese people were killed, and the streets were left in ruins. But what's more important is that this incident happened in May, so just a few months before Japan invaded Manchuria, and all this anti-Chinese sentiment made many Koreans support Japan's actions against China.